Welcome back to another video, and this time I'm going to mix things up here as I'm bringing in one of my partners, Daniel Lynch. We run a marketing agency together called Empathy First Media, and we're just going to share some inside tips and tricks that we're doing with AI and for our clients and for our own business overall. So, Daniel, first of all, if you want to introduce yourself, just appreciate you coming on here.
Yeah, my name is Daniel Lynch. I'm the president and founder of Empathy First Media. I'm a former engineer turned digital marketing entrepreneur. Started a couple companies in the healthcare space and have used HubSpot, digital marketing, SEO, paid search, and inbound marketing as kind of the backbone strategy to build the foundation for those businesses and then scale them over time.
Yeah, Daniel's arguably the smartest guy I know when it comes to AI and marketing. Hence why I wanted to have him in future videos. We're going to do more videos like this on various topics, diving into AI and marketing. But today, we're going to talk about some of the latest updates happening with HubSpot, particularly HubSpot Breeze, which was their new AI platform that they announced at the Inbound conference last week, AI agents. So, Daniel, I don't know if you want to go ahead and share your screen and we can start
Yeah.
diving into some of these things. But first of all, I want to hear high level. What do you think is going on with HubSpot Breeze, HubSpot agents? Where do you see this going when it comes to marketing?
Well, when it comes to marketing, Ryan, right now, and with AI, with how fast it's moving, it's to the point where you have to think about where it's going and not where it is today. And so Darmesh at Inbound, he had a really interesting quote that I resonated with, and he said, "In the age of AI, data is not the moat; data is the water that fills the moat. You still have to dig a deep moat." And so at Empathy First Media, we've been preparing for the last year and a half of looking at how do we aggregate data that the LLM, the language learning model, can learn off of. And so as HubSpot's evolving, they added an AI sources area where you can program bots originally to do help desk training. But now it's getting to the point with AI agents and the marketplace that Dharmesh has opened that it's about bridging those knowledge bases of data, getting updated data in real time and giving the AI the actual data points, data sets, and fine tuning to, to tackle specific complex use cases. So if you say something very complex, that's what's going to really do is have agents that are specialized in every level of completing that task that require a different data set that are bridged through the API to a vector database that can efficiently crawl that data, analyze that data, and then give the language learning model what it needs to give an accurate output.
Yeah. And so right now we have custom GPTs, we have Claude projects. Those are technically agents, but those are internally based, right? They're closed source with OpenAI, they're closed source with Anthropic. And now HubSpot's going to be making their own agents. And I believe they have an app store coming out or something that's going to
They
be just like the Apple App Store.
Darmesh had already released this a while ago, and I had signed up for it because I stock everything he does, which everybody listening should do. Is he created a marketplace called Agent.ai where
Yeah. Do you want to
it's
share your screen and we can start
yeah,
looking at this?
yes. Let me go ahead and share my screen real quick here. So if we come over here to Agent.ai, this is my profile I had built out, but it's basically not only just a marketplace, but it's actually a professional network that Dharmesh is building of ways to get your name out there, build your brand, but then actually build different agents that accomplish specific goals and monetize that. So if you see here, these are just some of the basic ones. These are very, very nothing special to be
It's almost
honest
like
right
a
now.
GPT store right now, right?
Exactly, but this is just the base level of this, right? And so, there's a network of people that you can see are all part of it that are building on here already because you always want to go where the wave is coming, not where it's already hit. And so this is a great opportunity to mix and meet HubSpot where it's evolving. So in 6 months from now, this entire agent.ai platform will be something incredible. And what I recommend everybody to do is if you're interested in building an agent, opt in now to this wait list because I opted in a while ago. I haven't been accepted yet, but Dharmesh even said there's a lot of people who are signing up for it. So I've already signed up. Create your profile. You can get your integration set up on here. Do basic, obviously the big integration right now, really your only option is going to be HubSpot and you can integrate your Twitter. But it's really something that is evolving more and more over time to meet HubSpot where it's at. So let's talk about Breeze real quick, Ryan. Did you watch Inbound and the keynote the other day, last week?
Yeah, I watched the one with Darmesh. I got bits and pieces of the other keynote presentations, but I was looking at Breeze. I actually did an AI news video where Breeze was kind of the headline of the news from last week. So I know a high level overview of what's going on, but like to think of it as, what is this, HubSpot's version of Microsoft Copilot essentially right now?
Well, yes and no. So if you were to go to HubSpot, they've had something, it was called GPT Spot or something. I forgot the name of it. But if you click Copilot right here, every platform has a Copilot. That's like the go-to buzzword now. I realize, Ryan. It's not just Microsoft Copilot; they're the first one, but now we have HubSpot Copilot, which is the AI that you can ask the questions. So if I come in here and I say, "Hey, tell me about Ryan Dozer," it will go through the HubSpot and find that contact record and ask me questions if it can identify you. So I might have, yeah. So if you see here, it's pulling in all of your information and says, hey, do you want to draft an email? Do you want to add a task? And then I can come in here and it will give me a summary of the engagements of what we've done together recently.
Yeah.
So
That's impressive. So again, it goes back to what you said earlier, right? Having that moat of all the data in your HubSpot database is going to be crucial to even utilize some of these AI features that are coming out.
yes, for sure. And when it comes to Breeze, what I noticed, and I just upgraded my portal here, is it's going to be big on giving data enrichment to empower some of these different agents that are launching right now. Okay. And so Breeze, brand new, launched last week with their different ecosystem. But keep in mind, what are the dots that we can connect looking back? There was a very crucial event that happened about a year and a half ago or so where HubSpot bought Clearbit, right? And Clearbit was the original go to, yeah, so it was in November 2023, they announced this, where if you don't know what Clearbit is, Clearbit was the original data enrichment source back in the day with SaaS, where you could basically have someone come in here and identify all these different metrics anonymously based on their IP address and all these different data points where they use a universal tracking cookie. HubSpot bought them. And it was kind of interesting is that everyone was like, well, if you go into Clearbit, you can't really do anything now. What is HubSpot going to do with this? Well, this is what they're doing with it, right? Because if you were to come in here and I just actually upgraded my portal, I'm waiting for the quote right now. But if you go to pricing and features, and you click Breeze Intelligence, you can get your data enrichment credits. And so I'm getting the $150 a month of plan because we don't really have a ton of contacts right now. But basically, what it's going to be is it's going to enrich one CRM record, and then it's going to automatically refresh that data as new data becomes available with data enrichment, buyer intent, form shortening. Which, if you look, well, they got rid of the pricing page here, obviously, because they don't want people signing up for Clearbit, but these were actually the functionalities that basically HubSpot or Clearbit was doing. Okay. And so now when you have this, this is the ability to get a lot of that very rich data and automatically, for example, form shortening, if it knows the company name and you have some fields, it will remove those fields from the form to shorten it to help with your conversion rate. Okay. But it also is going to start getting all this additional data. And remember, when it comes to an AI agent such as these, okay, the key here is going to be giving it as much data as possible to bridge that. And so if we go to our AI settings right now, um, they give you the ability to sync your CRM data, your customer conversation data, which includes call transcripts, recordings, emails, chats, and then the files that you upload as well. So, in theory, what HubSpot is doing is giving you the ability to customize a vector database with your specific use case data. And keep in mind, when we come to phone calls here, right? That's very powerful because now you can start tracking everything that goes in and out of that CRM in different mediums and channels across the board. Copilot, now you give it the ability to read that data. Right now, we're not really in a place, Ryan, in my opinion, where it's that. Like when I try to ask HubSpot about data, create content and whatnot, It's not there yet, but here's the deal. These are all the different options that you can use to customize for that brand, that specific use case, that data source. And so right now, one of the biggest things here is going to be your brand kit. And they've had this for a while, but you put your logo, all that stuff, that doesn't matter. But the brand voice is what matters, where you can put your personality, your default tone, your company mission, terms to avoid. So, like for example, I always hate when it says groundbreaking or life
Mine's Delve.
changing. What is it?
Delve, that's mine.
Delve. I don't even know how to spell that. um,
Robust. Robust is another one I see all the time.
robust. These are the words, and obviously it's because it's using Chat GPT. If it was using Claude, it wouldn't be using these words as much, right? So you've got to kind of tone it back. Um, I don't care about all this. I avoid cultural references. I don't want to get into pronouns, but they do give you that option if that is what you're trying to do. And
So, Daniel, I want to ask you one thing though, quickly on this topic of Breeze and AI agents, which I think is important. Talk about like what is the AI model powering this behind the scenes, right? What is HubSpot using GPT 4.0? Are they using Claude 3.5 Sonnet? Like what are they powering all of this with behind the
Well,
scenes?
I'm trying to find that website that they have a website that will actually tell you all the different models that they use. Oh, here it is right here. If you click on this, behind HubSpot AI, okay, behind Breeze. And so it will actually come in here if you click on home and cards. Let's go right here. That these are all of the different AI options or functionalities built into HubSpot right now. So if we were to say do a blog title, right? It will tell you which LLM it's using. So it's using GPT 3.5. So that's why, in my opinion,
It's
the
terrible.
Hubs the HubSpot output is not that good. I mean, it's getting there. It has the potential to grow rapidly, but they're really not using any of the more modern 3.5 Sonnet with Claude, which I don't understand why they're not. So if we were to go to Breeze Copilot and like create notes, let's see what they put here, model details. Now they're using the 4.0, which would be a lot better, right? So on the newer functionalities, they are upgrading that, but it looks like on some of the other ones they have not yet. And so generating images, I think when I went on here, I was part of their beta test on this, working with them. Yeah, so they were using Dolly 3, and I said, well, I was like, well, I think you should use Midjourney
Or
or
Flux.
some or Flux, yeah, because the Dolly images are just not realistic. They're not human-like. They look like Simpson cartoon characters, right? And this is the website. And Ryan, we should put this a link in the video here for everybody where they
Yeah,
can
I'll leave
click.
all these links that we're all talking about and diving into in the description below if you guys are curious.
Yeah, and so you see here, even the data quality is being run by AI, and I guess they didn't put the model there, but HubSpot is sprinting. But what the big functionality here that people don't realize is that HubSpot, at the end of the day, what it really is it's a database on the back end, right? So if I click on any of these contact object records, like let's say we go to companies, okay? Every one of these values here is an Excel value, right? If you think of a database, that's what Excel is, and
Right.
you can actually sync these to a Google sheet or an Excel spreadsheet, and then run custom AI in that spreadsheet and have it sent back to HubSpot. But really, where the bridge is coming, Ryan, and what I check on, and I tell everybody to do this, go to the app marketplace. The app marketplace and the AI agent marketplace are exploding right now, by the day with new apps, right? So all it takes is for one new app to come in here and interface using a custom card feature inside of HubSpot, and then we have new functionality built into it. But what we're doing at Empathy First Media is we actually use what's called Pinecone. If people are not familiar with that, we could put a link in the video as well for this. But what this is a custom vector database. You see here, HubSpot's using this, so they're probably building all this on the back end of Pinecone. Because the issue when you have too much data in a vector database, let's say you have one per client, per industry, per skill set, per functionality, is that it has to be searchable, which is why you may use Algolia or Elasticsearch, and it has to be scalable in order for the RAG functionality, retrieval augmented generation, to really take effect without having to wait 5, 10 minutes for every response, right? And so what we've been doing at Empathy First Media to get ready for all of this stuff with HubSpot and everything they're doing is if we go to our workflows here, let me find those real quick. Automations workflows. You can always, at the end of the day, let me just create a basic workflow, right? At the end of the day, with HubSpot and everything that you can do, what's beautiful is depending on what plan you're on, I believe you have to be on the Ops Pro for this. Is if you were to click plus and then click data ops, you can always send a webhook to post and get values for anything, basically, right? So if I come in here and I say I want, when this new event occurs, that a call ended, let's say, right? Done, done. Well, then I have that as the trigger. And then when I come in here to the data ops, I can send a webhook and say post. And in that body, I can put all the contact properties associated with the contact in there. Or I can customize it and say, hey, I want the AI summary bio and send these JSON fields to that webhook, which then can go through a RAG retrieval process in Pinecone using, a variety of different interfaces and functionalities, or a direct webhook to Pinecone, and then take that data and send it to an LLM using Stack AI or any of these bot builders that are popping up. One of the things that
Yeah.
we're doing at Empathy First Media is trying to identify what are the best ways to get that data, right? So if you come in here, a lot of people have never heard of this, but this is called Appify, where it's a marketplace that you see a store of different bots you can use to populate that on a daily, weekly, manual trigger basis for a variety of use cases, whether it be Reddit, LinkedIn. You could come in here and let's say we type in Google, that if you're trying to find Google Maps crawlers or Google Ads crawlers, Google Jobs, it's the ability to connect with any API, put that data into a vector database, and then use it for other functionalities and use cases.
So what you're doing, Daniel, is in essence exposing the business model of 99% of SaaS tools that exist.
I am. Yes. This is basically what I realize is you either using like a Versal or a Retool or a codeless app builder. Most SaaS tools are just API calls to different databases with a pretty UI, and a majority of their efforts are spent on selling and marketing the product. Just like
Yep.
anything else, right? Don't hate the
Yep.
player, hate the game.
Yeah,
But
just
what
get the attractive girl, pay her to generate some UGC content for you. Tell her audience what AI tool she's using, and you're off to the races.
That's right. That's right. And but like here's a good example of run actors as real-time APIs that you can build actors in here. This is what they call their agents basically. This isn't AI driven. This is where you program it to go do a certain use case. And just like that quote that I started off with, Ryan, is that we are trying to dig the moat as deep as possible right now that Dharma said, and start filling it with data. And not only fill it with data, but filling the data into a moat, which is the vector database, which we can retrieve, augment, and generate from. That is the key here. And then you better believe if you were to go to HubSpot, what I plan on doing with our clients who are on HubSpot and everything is if you go to where is it right here? Your HubDB. So that would be under, they changed the UI around so much. Data management library here. I think it's files. Let me see here if it's no, it's not here. This is the files you can upload, you can learn from too. But if you were to go to your HubDB, which is right here under content, you can create custom tables, right? So let's do a test table. Let's do testing two right here, okay? And you can start adding in rows, right? And not only can you add in rows, but you see here we have, all right, this is the post ID. Well, then what you do is you add a column. So if we want to say first name, right, and that's a text, and then you would choose what type of scheme of field value this is. So if it is it a URL, is it an image, is it a select, right? It'd be a text. So you could build custom databases on the back end of HubSpot for HubDB that can then dynamically change your HubSpot CMS platform for your website, your ability to interact with email templates. And this is the moat that you can build and populate over time.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with what you just explained and covered there. I think I might start titling these segments like AI rabbit holes or something because that's all we do all day is just go down all these AI rabbit holes. And I'm like, oh, we got to share this with people. People might find this stuff interesting.
Yeah. And so with HubSpot, with the AI, they've got these different use cases. And one of the big updates that no one, I mean, people have talked about it, but they're not really talking about the importance of this is if you go to settings here and you go down to your objects, they only used to have like contacts, companies, deals, tickets, products, quotes, and now they've added a bunch more. Like leads was a big one they added about a year and a half ago or so. But then they added like services, courses, listings, appointments, and there's even more where they created an object library that, depending on your use case, let's say you're a real estate agent, right? Well, then this would give you the ability using the HubSpot content platform, HubSpot CMS, to build a website that is linked to MLS using an API integration. And then they have templates that are specific to different use cases. So right now they have healthcare, real estate, and education. So they're trying to make it more turnkey for actual business models. And this is what the actual data model management of the back end of HubSpot looks like. That for these are your CRM objects, these are the ones that are standard, these are your sales objects. So these are like contacts, companies, appointments. These are the custom objects I built for our agency use case. And then these are all the activities that go into it. So phone calls, emails, LinkedIn messages, notes, meetings, SMS, tasks, WhatsApp. And what's interesting is every one of these is a different database table on the back end of HubSpot that has a specific functionality. And what it is that in terms of programming language, if you're building an app, that every one of these database tables is associated with something else. So contacts you see here is associated with all of these. So it's associated with all the activities, deals and quotes, custom objects, etc. And all these different things. And so, but if you wanted to define your data model and you don't know how to do this, you could just click one of these three, and they're going to be adding more. I wouldn't be surprised if they have like uh, service provider, like a plumber or a roofer or
Right.
a contractor. Um, if they were to go more down the rabbit hole with healthcare, if they're adding a business model for accounting, and then eventually what will happen is they'll have use case specific workflows that tie into use case specific AI agents, thus the AI agent marketplace, where
Yeah,
those
and that one shocked me, right? You mentioned all those industries like coming after QuickBooks for accounting or coming after a service titan for plumbing or trades, right? That would not surprise me because HubSpot's definitely lowering their tier to try to attract more people in their ecosystem.
I mean, yeah. I mean, so I don't know if they would necessarily go after QuickBooks because QuickBooks is more of an accounting software, but the
That's true.
accounting business model, right, where they could integrate things. And so, at the end of the day, like with HubSpot, QuickBooks integration, they have a fairly okay integration. I wouldn't say it's the best, but you can sync your invoices, your products, the deals, the revenue that comes in, so that way you could track everything. Um, but what's beautiful about HubSpot is what they've done historically is if you look at like all these integrations here and stuff, okay, is that they integrate with everything, and then if they like it enough, they'll build it into their platform natively, right? And so you'll
Yeah.
see a lot of these functionalities that are coming about here with marketing and social media and all these different things. It keeps evolving more and more and more by the day. And that's why
Yeah.
I tell everybody to come in here to come check. One of the things I tell my team to do regularly is go to product updates and look at what updates they release on a daily basis. So if we go to all product updates, just in the last couple of days, this is what they've released, which is kind of crazy when you think about it, right? Is you see they're doing a 4-month plan complimentary for Adobe Express, and they talk about Adobe Express at Inbound. So you better believe there's something coming of integrating Adobe's AI image and photo video functionality into HubSpot, right? Think about that, Ryan. Now you have
Yeah.
Adobe in there, right?
I'm almost
Uh,
shocked that HubSpot doesn't come up with their own AI, whether it's like text generation, their own LLM with image generation, but the resources to come up with that are probably so expensive versus just syncing it with one of these people that already do it, like
but
most companies do.
but Ryan, what we've already seen happening with the AI space race, okay, is that let's think about this, right? Back in the day, everybody used AOL dial-up, right? Everybody's using Netscape as their browser, and they had all the market share, right? But overnight, guess what? All of a sudden, all these other providers of internet and faster, better functionality appeared. If we look at OpenAI today with their newest model 4.0 versus Sonnet 3.5 by Anthropic, I was watching a video yesterday with Dharmesh about this, that it was like OpenAI had all the market share. But then overnight, it feels like Claude's output is exponentially better. And
Especially with coding, I've heard from people in that space.
it's not even connected to the internet, right? When we're using these projects and artifacts. And so what we've been doing with our team is actually building custom bots where Claude can now connect to the internet using a Stack AI or another bot connector. And that's even more powerful, is connecting Claude 3.5 Sonnet to a Pinecone vector database with LangChain, so it has more semantic context of what's going on, using that RAG functionality to give Claude that additional data points with the large token size. Because on the API for Claude, we got upgraded to tier 4, so we have more API limit usage available, and then giving that feedback. But
Yeah, we're big fans of Claude at Empathy First Media. I think once it actually has real time internet integration built into the UI and it has AI image generation, I think it's going to, I mean, it already technically has surpassed OpenAI in some capacities, some capabilities, but I think those two features are really big, in my opinion, for most people.
yeah, I mean, I was even looking at. I don't know if you've ever used Grok at all, and
Yeah, I use Grok here and there.
not the one from Twitter. We're talking about this
Oh,
one.
GROQ, where it has all those models, but it's like
Yeah,
a UI, it's like a Hugging Face kind of.
yeah, exactly. And what was interesting is I'm trying to get in here. I was in here the other day. I don't go in here all the time. Start building the playground, right?
Yeah, you can use Llama 3 on there, I believe, and there's some other ones you can use.
Yeah, you could put all your API keys in here and stuff. But they had a model when I was working in it the other day where it was a Grok modified Claude or something, and all it takes is two variations, Ryan. A new LLM to appear, such as a Mistral or a Cohere or Perplexity, or a combination of all of them, right? Or someone modifying just OpenAI with specific guidance or prompts or data sets that makes it more powerful to overcome its flaws, right?
That's why this data is so valuable.
That's why the data is everything, is building the moat is everything. And when it comes to HubSpot, right, I think the reality is that in the blink of an eye, the reason why they're not creating their own LLM is because they would never be able to compete, and they're better off just seeing who the top players are for each functionality over time, and then simply adding more and more options that people can choose from and determining which one produces the best output.
Yeah, the
Giving
R&D for something like that would be exponential.
and they would never be, I mean, they could be as good as these other ones, right? But they're better off focusing on agents, because what they'll be good at is knowing how to close people or give people what they need to market, sell, foster relationships with use case specific bots that can be sold on the marketplace and then integrated into the workflows within HubSpot, right? That's where they're
Yeah.
going with this.
What agents are you looking forward to the most, just looking at the marketplace right now?
Most of the ones on here I'm not really too thrilled about right now. They're kind of blah. They're very basic. It's just like everything else in SaaS. Like 99% of all AI tools and SaaS tools are just so basic. It's like literally you could go to ChatGPT and it does the same thing for free, but
But
you're
the
paying.
average person doesn't comprehend this. I actually made a full video on this channel where I talked about, I'll leave a link to, I mean, everything we talk about, I'll link to below, but I made a video about how 99% of SaaS tools are white label OpenAI, white label Claude, and I just explain what you're trying to explain right now.
Yeah, exactly. And that it's really making them more unique. And so I've been working on developing our own tools to eventually launch our own SaaS tool. in 2025, and I had been developing things, and I'm like, why don't people have this? Why? And what's crazy is what you realize is a majority of all the apps that you see for AI are really just built on Versal. So you could come in here and click AI, and you may see some apps that you recognize in here, that like a headshot generator. You can get a template right here that's already done. Get
You can
headshots.ai.
make an AI SaaS tool right there. AI
Exactly.
headshot generator.
Exactly. And you deploy it to Versal, and you still have to do some back end coding right over here and set up your, repository on, what do you call it, on, repository on GitHub and stuff. But if you really want to know the secret tool that's making waves right now for developing AI apps, it's Replete right here. Okay. Because with Replete, you can come in here and let's say create an AI app that will write a SEO optimized blog post with inputs of the focus keyword, industry, author, and ability to look up additional information, right? The website will be hosted on will be built with Next.js and React and have multiple pages, including a page for uploading documents to be scraped and analyzed during the RAG data process, and ability to have a knowledge and info based page to change unique values such as expertise, credentials, call to action, brand voice, brand personality, personas, and audience. And so what's crazy about this app is you can actually host it on here, and I don't know if we're gonna be able to do this the entire time because it might take a couple iterations here. But you could watch this first one go, and this really blew my mind. I signed up for this the other day,
This
and
could be a whole separate video we do. I mean, I feel like we're going on all sorts of different AI tangents, but this is what we
but
do
they all,
naturally.
but
Yeah.
this is all, it all integrates together, Ryan. That's the thing. Everything is one
Yeah.
API call away from another platform. So instead of thinking you have to upgrade to the enterprise of this or that, that's why these SaaS tools will be like, oh, if you want to white label your subdomain, you got to be an enterprise because they can control that. But where we're going now is that if you have an API key and you can go in and out, a lot of that functionality that they used to like have hidden behind a paywall would be what kind of you couldn't do it, but now you can. So look here, it comes up with I develop an app, and I'm going to be using Flask and Vanilla JS instead of Next.js. So it's saying these frameworks are not supported in our environment. This app will include keyword input, document upload for RAG processing. Would you like any of these additional functionalities? Let's do user authentication, support from multiple languages, integrate with popular content management systems, develop an API for third-party integrations. And then in real time, Ryan, watch this. This will blow your mind. I was doing this at like 2 a.m. over the weekend. It's writing the main Python script right now. Now it's writing the HTML for the actual UI.
This
It's
is in
right.
seconds.
This is in seconds. Watch this, Ryan. And then what you can do is all these data points, these fields, you can integrate them with HubDB. This is why it all ties back to HubSpot. Okay. So if we come in here, you see it's got the colors here and whatnot, it's thinking, but then we can customize these colors. And what we'll do is we'll say, hey, I want a page where I can customize the branding of everything. And it builds all of it in real time. And what it does is it's using different AI agents for each functionality. And I believe it does integrate with Perplexity so it can pull in all this information. But what happens, what I really like is that when you're debugging this, you can put the errors into the bot itself, and it will go fix them in real time. So it's
Yeah,
installing
this is
everything.
crazy stuff.
This is insane, bro. We're building an app in a matter of seconds right now, right? This would have taken weeks, months to do before. This is in real time. I mean, this is in real time, right?
So
And
SaaS founders or people that work at SaaS tools, if you're watching this, sorry for Daniel for exposing half the business models right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we're going to have another huge wave of AI tools that come about, because now what's going to happen is you're going to have people like me and you that are just weekend warriors, let's say, compared to a, bajillion-dollar SaaS company. They're going to choose very unique, specific use cases. Let's say my strength is IV therapy, where I could make the GOAT app for IV therapy for SaaS of launching an IV therapy company that integrates with WordPress, that integrates with HubSpot, that integrates with Klaviyo, that integrates with, if you would have an e-commerce store, and have it where you can have a custom app without spending $30,000, waiting months and years of development, dealing with people abroad who just take your money. And now you have something that actually is interesting, right? That actually will
Yeah.
work. So it's still thinking here right now. It does take a couple of minutes here. Because if
No,
you look,
yeah, that's okay. I mean, we could fast forward. I mean, we could end this segment right here. But I think one other point that I want to mention before we kind of wrap this up is that, I mean, you especially in our tech team. I mean, we could have built a SaaS tool a long time ago and just did a white label open AI and sell out and make six figures and just run away and retire. But we don't feel comfortable doing that, right? We would rather build something that's new, generational, right? Versus just doing a copycat version of ChatGPT like every other AI SaaS tool is out there. So I think that's a very important point for me to clarify when we talk about stuff like this.
yeah, and Ryan, I mean, you hit the nail on the head there. Is, as the founder of the agency, and I just I look at digital marketing agencies, I look at a lot of SaaS tools, and it's such a meat grinder type industry that we live in, right?
It's a hamster wheel.
It is a hamster wheel. And if you look at the typical agency model of these huge agencies that have millions of Google reviews and whatnot, I can tell you right now, if you talk to any one of my clients, past, former, present, they'll say good and bad about me just because that's how the world works, right? But they would all tell you that if I am dead set focused on their specific project, I am the GOAT at what I do and I'm undefeated at getting results. But I get spread thin easily, right? That's why it's important to build a team. But how can you scale an agency at some point and maintain that quality? I don't think it's possible, right? And that's why you see a lot of these big agencies that they probably were really great at the beginning, but then the people who were really good at what they do, they get older, they don't want to work as hard, they get burnt out. I can testify to that firsthand. And now you have people that they hire who are fresh out of school or not as experienced that are managing your project. And the owner may know who you are, but they're not hands on in your project every day. That figurehead that you fell in love with, that brand that you fell in love with. And so that's why I personally just don't like that model. I don't like how we just get people in the meat grinder on reoccurring, lock them in contracts, which is why with our agency, our goal is to pivot to SaaS tools that serve a purpose and truly help people. And then also at the same time, is I honestly don't want to keep on taking a ton more clients. I'd rather just keep building my own companies, right? Because that way we have control of our funnel. But we are very good at what we do. And
Yeah,
we
and that's
are
the goal too of us starting to do videos like this is that kind of just giving you guys an inside look in the scoop behind the scenes of kind of what we're talking about every single day, what Daniel and our tech team is building behind the scenes, and just basically our next path forward as entrepreneurs trying to figure things out one day at a time.
failing upwards is the motto of my life, Ryan. And so if we look here, the AI app, it finally finished the first iteration. And you see here, this is just the backbone. But now we've got the HTML, we've got the CSS, we've got the JavaScript, we've got the backend framework of the app. And if you look here for generating a blog post, if I say I want, let's put IV therapy, healthcare, and put Daniel Lynch, it probably will give an error here because we haven't put an API key in here. So it will tell you to do these things and let you know if a blog post is generated. So it may want me to do only these keywords to start
Yeah.
off with for now. But this is the
Well, let's
general.
let's just yeah, let's cap that off right there. I mean, we could go down that in a separate video, but yeah, just cap it off there. I mean, that's very impressive stuff that you just built in a matter of minutes, essentially 5
Yeah,
minutes,
and
even
I just
less
do
than that.
iterations, and I could knock off these other AI tools, adding in the UI. People have shiny object syndrome more than they realize, right? That because it has a pretty UI and buttons and whatever, all it is a API call with a couple prompts, and they're paying $99 a month. Well, the cost to run that tool is probably less than $1 for that one user, right? It's the cost of acquisition, which is the expensive part. And
And if
that
you
is
don't
why
know
it's
how any of this stuff works like we do behind the scenes, people think that it's a silver bullet to solve all their problems when it's just a white labeled version of something they're already using.
exactly. And so as we keep going more and more, we're going to have it where, they say influencers are going to start, content creators are going to be replaced by AI agents, right? That I may not be someone who is the best in front of a camera, but if I can make content with my agent, well, then I become the content creator and gain that notoriety, just like Hollywood stars with movies, right? We're going to see that happening with AI in different ways. We don't know yet, right? It could be an AI movie production company that replaces making the next, World War Z. It makes it in 30 minutes and just produces it in 4K, and studied every other movie known to man and has all the graphics and rendering and the realistic done with Midjourney, or the new Open AI video platform, which they never really
Sora,
released,
yeah.
Sora, which looked really good. Whatever happened with that, right? I think Open AI has a couple more tricks. They're not going to just walk away and let these other ones take over. It's almost like they're kind of letting them get ground to just completely shake up everything again. And I
Yeah.
believe in
I wanna talk
October,
about AI. I wanna talk about AI video in a future video like we do like this. I think that would be a good topic to touch on.
I think in October, as we get closer to the election and there's so many things going on, October surprise, right, is what they always say. I think it will have something to do with AI, because one thing that people are starting to talk about more and more is what is going to happen to the economy, because we live in a capitalistic society, that when people's jobs start getting replaced, people are like, well, that's unethical. Well, at the end of the day, we're consumers. As a business owner, I have the right to make a decision that if I find technology that's more efficient than hiring someone, then why would I not do that? Right? That's in my best interest. The invisible hand theory of Adam Smith, which is held up for hundreds of years, whether it's behind closed doors or in a public setting, people will always do what's in their best favor, just like at the ballot box, right? They may tell you they vote for someone, but they may vote for someone else because they don't want you to know. They're going to do what's in their best interest, where they're going to vote for their pocketbook. And with AI tools coming about, if you have a staff member who's like, but look how hard I worked. And I'm like, I just did everything you did in the last 6 months in like 3 minutes on AI. And I can't even have you review it because you're not even that competent, right? Well, why do I want to pay you? Because you exist. I'm sorry, that's
Right.
unethical to some people, right? But when you're the one who has to pay the bill and has to come up with that money, right? Then you're
It's
like,
almost like you've experienced this before.
I've experienced this quite a bit, Ryan. Yeah. I've laid off quite a few people in the last couple months, you could say, as AI has evolved. Where,
Yeah.
for instance, with public relations, we have one person on our team where we created AI bots for every one of our clients that was able to replace, we got rid of two people, and we gave her just one bot with these AI projects per client for PR. And she's handling three times more clients, getting more results, and doing it between Pilates classes on her phone, right? So I just eliminated two full time positions with one who's actually doing sales, marketing, and PR by using AI. So she got a raise, she got paid more, right? And at the end of the day, as the business owner, I'm saving money, significant amount of money, right?
Yeah. I wanna talk about that at some other future video as well. Will AI come for jobs? What industries is it impacting? I think we could just go down the rabbit hole of all these different topics in separate videos. There's so much
Oh,
to
well, Ryan,
uncover.
it's already replacing jobs by the day.
Yeah.
People don't
For
realize,
sure.
right? It's every day with a new functionality, every time there's a new AI agent that comes about, that's one less task a human has to do. And
Yeah,
at what
and the
point when
C-suite's still pretty old, I mean, the Fortune 500 companies, so we'll catch up eventually. But Daniel, I'm gonna cap this off right here. We could just spend 2, 3 hours going through what we're doing right now. But for those of you listening, appreciate you if you've made it this far. Every single thing that we've mentioned can be found in the video description below. All the links, all the videos, the HubSpot inbound presentation from Darmesh. I would suggest starting there. Daniel, thank you so much again for coming on. Excited to do more videos like this in the near future where we just kind of nerd out and go down all sorts of AI rabbit holes. Any final words or any topics that you want to talk about here in the near future?
Yeah, I would love to talk with people about how to start identifying knowledge bases that they should be digging their moat with, right? to be thinking of how can I fill this with data. And I've gone down the rabbit hole since pretty much November 2022 is when I heard about OpenAI initially, and I started experimenting. And I have spent, I don't know, hundreds, if not thousands of hours analyzing every SaaS tool, every API connection, vector databases, AI tools, doing demos. And I would love to provide guidance on just the stack that I'm seeing work that we're trying to build. And that I recommend everybody start figuring out what data is super valuable. That if you could have the holy grail of data for your business model, what would that look like? And outline specifically. Don't be afraid to list explicit details of things that you think are not possible, and then go one by one and see how you could start filling in those voids and getting those data points available so that when these next versions of AI come out and AI agents and the UI is more mainstream where you can do it without hiring a developer using codeless AI tools, that you can just bridge the gap instantly for your business and have hyper growth and take off the runway.
Yeah, and for those listening, if you guys have any topics you want us to uncover related to AI, just throw us a comment below and we'll be sure to go. I think eventually, Daniel, we should do a live Q&A where people will flood in and they can kind of start doing what we're doing live, just kind of rambling about AI topics and have more interaction that way.
Yeah, for sure. I would love that, Ryan. And then we're also available for consulting. That if anybody ever wants to book a consult with us, or look over your stack, or talk about different ideas, we do that right now. We're on a wait list to take new clients, so we're not taking on new clients, but we do hourly consulting. So if anybody's interested in scheduling that with us, there'll be a link in the bio as well. And we look forward to providing more AI nerdiness and helping lead the revenge of the nerds in 2024 and 2025.
That's right. Well, Daniel, appreciate your time for coming on and thank you to everyone for watching. Be sure to tune in again for the next video.